Drip ka. Saan mo na? Shinare ko? Ba?
Congratulations. You're the chosen one.
I understand.
If you find anything, contact. Trust me. Now, is there anything else we can do? Going on this door.
Restrictions on assembly are in effect. As part of the Saudi government's counter-conspiracy initiative, which is equivalent to to do so is a crime.
Ready for takeoff.
Bagley, is that our spider bot?
According to the serial numbers, this matches the piece of spider bot from the Tone bombing site.
Can you do your scan thing or whatever to find the user?
Navigate the spider bot from out of that room. I'll need a direct connection in order to learn more from our bisected friend.
Leave it to me.
That opening right there looks like a good exit point. Right, get comfy. This spider-bot might be broken and missing some of its legs, but it can still jump and fit through vents. That's a good way to get through the station undetected. That's a part of the remote detonator system from Parliament. If the Met, or Albion rather, actually analysed it, they would see it wasn't DedSec's handiwork at all. That's Dalton's mask. It must have been recovered from Parliament. It might be the only thing left of him now.
Ah. No. Parang
Buggery fuck, would you look at all this junk? You'll have to jump your way across to get to the next vent opening.
Decided they couldn't. Suddenly some corporation could clean up our streets better than the safe police. But who knows how long? When crime fighting is treated like a business, crime will never go away. Now, we've done a business, right? We don't help Albion have our best interests at heart. So
If the police could handle their job, Albion wouldn't be necessary, but they can't. Home bombing is a perfect example of a bunch of lazy, overpaid cops who see the well, they're not real anymore, are they?
You're almost there. Make your way through this last vent path.
Persons are advised to avoid areas where life administration.
I've got it.
Scanning Spiderbot and accessing its internal drives. While I'm analysing this data, you should make yourself scarce. Unless you'd like to explain to your new, heavily armed, privatised police force why you've broken into the station.
All right. Ah, how'd you like that?
The Spiderbot fragment you found has a satellite-based GPS module that regularly pushed its location to a specific ground station.
Curiouser and curiouser. It sounds like someone was afraid of doing their work in the open.
Pushing you the ground station's coordinates.
Someone's hacked this. Scan the area.
Pardon me?
This is London Calling. I'm Tash, and this is Buckingham. Your source for what they don't want you to know.
Proceed.
Today we're talking about policing. By consent or by force for profit. Ever since Sir Robert Peel created the police force as we know it in 1829, London has relied on the Metropolitan Police Service for peace, stability, and
Any
justice.
sign of the target?
They weren't perfect,
Anyone?
but at least there was some democratic control.
Ready to ram the
Now there's a new
Over.
sheriff in town. If you're a victim of crime or you just want to silence a peaceful protest, there's a new police force to turn to. Albion. And they're about as far from the old-fashioned Bobby on the beat as it's possible to get. When Hassani handed over London to Nigel Cass, many people were
had them.
surprised.
Where did
but
they go?
we weren't. London has been up for sale and privatisation for years. The only difference is that now the private companies
Terminating
have
the
guns.
search. Control.
So how did it happen?
Put out
What
an
does it
APW.
mean? How can we reverse it? And what's the price of justice? On Buccaneer, we conceal everyone's full names for their own safety. Here's Helen, who investigated policing, civil rights and justice in pre-crisis Britain.
One of the kind of classic hallmarks of a fascist leader is having their own private army or police force. You know, it is in a democracy, the state tends to have a monopoly on violence, and that's not what happens when a state fails. You know, you end up with people running their own private militias, and we've seen this all over the world. You know, every kind of great dictator in history has had basically their own jackbooted set of guys that they can send in to rough up people who annoy them. And that's the danger of a force like Albion. You know, you start taking powers to yourself, and actually who is in charge of telling you no? It's always a worrying sign when you see, say, a president surrounding themselves with ex-military guys, with, you know, 5-star generals or whatever it might be, because that sort of suggests that they want to run the country like you run a war. And in a war, you have to be incredibly hierarchical. You know, you have to be top down. People essentially have to obey orders, because that's the only way that you can...
Bagley, how can I get in?
I'm detecting a surveillance network guarding a space under this bridge. If you can patch into it, perhaps you can take a look inside. The Spiderbot we covered regularly pings these coordinates. Our mystery witness to the real bombers must have come to this lovely, damp location several times.
What a chill. It's a good place to give yourself pneumonia.
Or to discreetly dump a body into the Thames.
I think it's very important to to consider the changes that have happened in public space in London. I mean, the honest answer is there hardly is any shared public communal space anymore. Everything is privatised, owned by corporations and companies. It's very difficult to feel that the space is our own to use, and essentially you can be moved on from any area by forces which are employed to police the private area for corporate profit rather than for a community's overall well-being and shared livelihood. So I think what you're looking at overall is
kayo dyan, baulam na yan.
Good Lord. The police have a whole office down here in their little troll cave.
Well, if Albion was stopping all over your workplace, you'd find a different place to store your lunch too. And it seems our mystery officer was dedicated.
Do you have any idea who put them onto the trail of the Tone attack?
The computer's dusty enough to kill an asthmatic, but there may still be something useful on it.
This is Inspector Caitlin Lau. Well, former inspector now. Since Albion's coup, the Met is no more. The police brass had already buried the evidence anyway. Everything implicating Albion and Clan Kelly in the bombings. But I know Mary Kelly's band of twats were involved. And they're involved in other crimes we can look into. Me and a few good mates are willing to go off book. Going after Mary Kelly again. I'll never fucking learn, will I?
Our video log. Clan Kelly and Albion are teamed up on some deal. I don't have all the details, but it looks to be human trafficking. The European Processing Center is the Albion angle. Since the bombings, they can grab anyone off the street. Call them illegal immigrants, potential DedSec insurgents, whatever. Though we know who the real danger is. So, Clan Kelly gets hold of these people, these immigrants, deportees, victims, really, and they're taking them somewhere. But where? and why. It all comes back to the boss lady herself. I knew she was into something, but she wriggled off the hook. There's only one way I can do this. 24/7 surveillance on Mary Kelly. If I'm caught, well, this will be my last entry. But I have to see what she's hiding.
So, our mystery officer was Inspector Caitlin Lau. It sounds like Mary Kelly was her white whale, and her investigation led her to the bombings.
First Albion, and now these Kelly thugs. Does anyone want to give it a bloody rest?
It seems like 0 Days Web covers all of the unsavoury bits of London. Tug on a thread, and it leads back to them. Clan Kelly and Albion included.
Now people are being...
Inspector Lau mentioned Albion is running their part of the operation out of the EPC. Detectives like us call that a lead.
What a thrill! It looks like I can teach you lot a thing or two about resistance fighting.
You wouldn't have been recruited if DedSec thought you'd be killed that easily.
Well, aren't you just a font of backhanded compliments?
Yeah, he sounds like a proper prick, but deep down he's a soft one. Good job.
This Albion Clan Kelly business leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And if Caitlin Lau's right, then this little nugget jumps to the front of the queue. We have reason to believe a former DedSec operative may still be alive, but missing inside the EPC.
Angel Lopez, not London-born, but I won't hold that against. Unlike some others.
Looks like Angel got caught up in the immigration roundup, which, ironically, may be the only reason he has escaped 0 Days DedSec purge.
Anti-immigrant sentiment has grown in London since the bombings. Albion fuels it. It allows them to send anyone they want to their brutal refugee camp.
We need to find Angel before they discover he's DedSec. This is kind of personal team. We're finding